All right. Well, that's a fun new tune. Fun new tune. Fun new
Yes.
studio. Chris, I'm so excited that you got to join tonight because I've been threatening you for such a long period of time.
And I get to try the new
You get to
studio.
try the new studio.
I get to be a beta tester.
You are a beta tester, not a beta
Yes.
fish. Not a
No,
beta fish because that would be weird.
but colorful.
But colorful nonetheless. Yes, I'm glad that you picked out your attire very specifically for the show. Do you want to show the kids at home what you're wearing?
Oh, can we see that? I've got too much
Yes,
beard
we
here.
could.
This is my cat's the Jellicle ball, and then to go with the cats,
Yes, the woof woof. It's a
equal time
dog
for
barked
dogs.
right as soon as you did that. That was.
I don't think they can
I
do
don't think we paid them enough. So, and I've got my Hadestown shirt on, and we'll talk all about that. But tonight is going to be really exciting, and special. So Chris is one of my dear friends, one of our incredible members. Do you want to kind of give them a background as to who you are too? You are just all
that.
Jellicle Ball.
I'm terrible at this. I am
Hi,
a
who are you? What do you do?
professional. My name is Chris. Hi, and I am a professional music director, music supervisor.
Maestro.
I've been playing in the pit band for over 50 years now, because I didn't want to get a real job.
That's
I
okay.
used to go to auditions, and the true story, I would go to auditions, and they would say, "Oh, listen, we have a role, we could probably use you, but we notice you have a lot of music director experience. Would you want to do that? It pays better."
Clearly,
So that's what I've it's the vocation that found me, and I love it because I get to work in live theater and
all the time.
do musicals.
And you've
Nothing
worked
wrong
with
with a
some.
play. I've been in some plays, but I love
Yeah.
my
And you
musicals.
just wrote a play, and we'll talk about that later.
Ugh.
And if the beard looks familiar, ladies and gentlemen, what, just about 2 or 3 months ago, maybe a little bit
Oh,
longer.
this would have been around the holidays.
Oh, yeah, sometime earlier this
Hmm.
year. Chris was playing at Walt Disney World at the Grand Floridian, and he was tickling the ivories and played some really cool mashups. You did Phantom, you did a lot of stuff from Mincemeat, and that's kind of your niche. So,
It was the one I remember. It was the final night of the original London cast in their New
yes.
York run. On their final night, I was in the Grand Floridian, and so I decided to play a little Ceylon Boys at the end of the night. And then a little while later, I don't know what got into me. I was playing Ceylon Boys, and then decided to mash that up with My Heart Will Go On. So it was my little
But it
Broadway
was great.
Titanic Operation Mincemeat medley.
And you got some recognition from the cast for how amazing you were.
They are so
Oh,
lovely.
I love it. But speaking of so lovely, we have a very exciting guest, and I cannot wait to welcome him in. Please help me welcome the one and only Mickey Joe Theater. Mickey Joe, welcome.
Oh my God, hey, thank you so much. Hello, new friends.
Thank you so much, new friend. Also, thanks for joining us at midnight UK time.
Absolutely fine, absolutely fine.
Yes, we appreciate you staying up late, but what a good experience to be able to speak at you and speak with you about all the things West End, because so many of our followers really do love the West End, but they don't have the education, and you are the go-to bro. Like you're the person that's going to know everything.
I do
So.
my best, I try.
And I did watch one of your more recent videos about Heather's, and we'll have words, and that's okay. No, but you really do have such a brilliant mind, and I'm really excited to get to know you better and have our viewers get to know you better as well. Do you want to kind of give everybody the hi, who are you, and tell everybody what you do?
Sure, sure. So I'm a lifelong theatre fan, like I'm sure everybody else is, and I sort of accidentally became a theatre content creator and critic kind of simultaneously. I kind of try and straddle both of
How
those
do you
ideas.
accidentally become one of those?
Well, it's because I can't remember who first told me to make YouTube videos, but when I was first doing it, it was never about reviewing. I was doing local Amdram, and I thought, if these get like hundreds of views, I'm going to get really locally popular. Like the smallest possible version
Yeah.
of becoming a celebrity to get on Broadway was I'll make locally popular backstage vlogs, and they're going to want to cast me as a sailor and anything goes. Like that was the greatest aspiration.
I love
And
that.
then, yeah, and then I think I spoke about theatre news because I've just always had too many opinions. And so I would start talking about stuff. And then around like the beginning of 2020, I was like, I'm going to really start talking about theatre online. This is a great time to start really engaging with the
Such a
theatre
great
industry.
time.
Yeah. And then everyone else stopped,
Yeah.
understandably, and I kept going. Whatever crumbs there were, whatever album was getting released, whatever announcement was being made, I was talking about it. And so then when things reopened, I would go to everything that was reopening. I was at the first night of whatever it was. And then it just kind of became reviews.
And now I've heard from a little bird what your previous job was is very different than theater.
Yeah, yeah. For a long time, I was doing all of these things at the same time. So it was only in January of 2023 that I started doing this, what I do now, full time. But for a while, I was a math teacher to teenagers who didn't want to be doing math, but they had to for a whole bunch of reasons to do with our education over here. So they had like failed the qualification, they were retaking it, and it was my job to try and
Mm.
explain it to them in a new way that they could understand. And when I was first teaching, a lot of them were performing arts students. So I was trying to somehow use bits of musical theatre to try
Okay.
and get them to understand math, basically.
Do you I need an example. Like you
Oh
right off the
gosh.
top.
It's more just like you pepper in numbers that they recognize and you put 24601 in something and they
Oh
light up a little
jeez.
bit and I'm like just trying to hold them,
You can do it. It's
or
okay.
it's blackmail and it's like we can talk about come from away but you have to do this many equations first and then we can
I
have that
No, but
conversation.
but it worked, right?
Oh
See,
yeah.
I would have been going, if there are 49 corn stalks stage right,
Yeah.
how many do you have to move to stage left to make a set for Oklahoma?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them do that.
That's not a bad idea. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Well, we did talk about we want to talk some news. Do we want to go Broadway or West End first?
I can do either. I'm very versatile in this
Well,
regard.
you're our guest, so be our guest and you choose and we will just bounce back and forth because clearly we only get so much information about the West End. You live, eat and breathe it. So, we'd love to pick your brain about it too.
Well, we were talking about the Hadestown pro
Yeah?
shot that's doing so well at the moment.
It
This
just
really
surpassed
exciting thing.
Hamilton.
Yeah, yeah, which is wild. It's
Crazy.
getting extended. People are showing up for it, even though it's not had the same kind of marketing that Hamilton had when it was in cinemas. But
Right.
people are showing up for Hadestown, which is amazing to see. And that's kind of news from both worlds because it's being seen in the US at the moment and it's the original Broadway leads, but it's really exciting that it got filmed here in London. And it's
Right.
kind of a hybrid cast as well.
Yes, it is, and it was really fascinating. I wasn't struggling, but it was like a unique adjustment for me to hear like the chorus had a little bit of a London accent, and I'm going, oh, that's not how I'm used to hearing it. Or like
Yeah.
when the Fates are talking with a little bit, and I'm going, oh, that makes sense
What
because
you
they're
gonna do when the chips are down? That, yeah.
right. No, did you have you obviously haven't been able to see the pro shot now then? So
No,
we're hoping that you'll be able to see it because we
Oh,
saw
it's
it,
not opened in London
you
yet?
know,
not yet.
U.S. audience
Oh.
only.
Not yet. But we can't complain because we had them here doing it. And so we
Yes.
got to see them. I saw the first night of that little run that they did, and it
Right.
was extraordinary. And I think there's something, when it was first back in the West End, about a year or so before that, it was always a cast with accents from a bunch of different places. And it's
Sure.
kind of been that consistently in London. And I think it really speaks to the show as this sort of timeless story from anywhere. And I really love that about Hadestown.
It's one of my so thinking I was a Greek mythology nerd. I still am, but that was
Big
always one
summer
of my
for you.
yes, big summer for me. I haven't seen the Odyssey yet,
Yeah.
but I love the story of Orpheus and Eurydice and Persephone going into like it was always my favorite. So when the show opened, I mean, it was Hadestown was the last show I saw before COVID. Because I was in New York and I was at Broadway Flea and they had Hermes Mike you could take a picture with, which was amazing. And I did that and it was the last show I saw and then the world shut down for a couple of years. So it has such a special place in my heart. And Chris and Ned and our friend Brian, we went yesterday morning and the theater was, I think it was a
It
sold
was a
out.
full theater at 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday
Right.
Wow.
for Hadestown.
We love to see it.
But
Yeah.
I will say, I'm happy to report the gasp at the end still happens in the movies too. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go see it.
You gotta go find out.
But Yes, so Hadestown, yes. Patrick Page's cast. Have you seen any of these pictures?
I'd seen like a photo of it, and I'm really intrigued as to kind of like the vibe that that brings to
Well,
everything.
he like tore his Achilles tendon in half from everything that I
Yeah, yeah.
understand. This thing is ginormous, and he's still light on his feet, but everyone's been saying it gives him more of a predatory or like an animalistic kind of movement because it's so bulky. But this man's still going up and down the stairs, he's still dancing, and he did the entire. I'm just blown away, but the way that the costuming department, it had to be costuming and props at this point. I'll send you a picture of it. It is fully set. It gorgeous, and but it was really exciting, and I hope that you guys get it soon.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see it.
It was
Yes.
interesting to watch that he doesn't actually put weight on his heel.
Yeah.
That in the cinema
It's
you
on
can
his toe.
see that he's walking normal on one foot and then step, but it doesn't look like a limp.
The way
he
that the
makes it
cast
work
is
so
built.
well. And the fact that my husband Ned said, "Is that part of the show, or was that just so?" That's how well integrated.
That works. Yeah.
All right, well, you picked Hadestown, Chris. I know you have so much news that you want to talk about.
Oh gosh, well,
He has a whole list. I love how
I mean, you
prepared he
already
is.
ticked number one off my list. We talked about how you became a vlogger.
Yes.
That was great. And I was watching, I think it was your AI video, and I thought, oh, skincare, that's the number one question. Well, we don't have to go there.
Yes, how do you keep your skin so
No, no,
lovely
no,
and
no, no.
glowy?
We
I
already-
need to know. As a person
It's
in this
good
world.
lighting. It's
Good
it's
lighting.
all
Great
it's
lighting.
all good lighting.
There
But,
we go. What about the new cast there are new cast members going
Rocky.
into the Rocky Horror Show.
Have you heard this?
I have, because already Sherry Renee Scott had joined, who I love.
Yeah.
Love her.
And,
I was devastated I didn't get to see her in The Queen of Versailles, but I'm
Right.
thrilled
thank
that
you.
she's now
I
really
wanted
back
to
on
go
Broadway.
back to see her.
Yeah,
I got to see her at Little Shop with Nicholas Christopher.
so did I. So did I. I did. I was not going to miss that one. I
I
came over to
just-
see it, and she was wonderful.
Wonderful, and I wish Aida would come back, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yes.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
But yeah, so the new Rocky cast, it's interesting. I'm excited for Jake Shears, and that's somebody that
Yeah.
we've both shared because he did Cabaret there and here, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Lorna Courtney, I mean, she just came out of, well, your favorite show, Heathers.
Yeah.
And she was just doing The Greatest Showman as well out in the West End.
She was. She was.
Yeah.
She was.
And then Kevin McHale, which I don't know.
Right.
I still don't know how I feel about Kevin McHale leaving Spelling Bee and coming over as Brad Majors.
I definitely didn't see it coming. I mean, I've enjoyed him so much in Spelling Bee, and he did the Frogs over here
Yeah.
last summer. But this is kind of it's a lot more. It's much more of a straight-laced kind of a character than we've seen him play on stage. He's great
Yes.
at these sort of goofy character parts.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting. But I think he'll fit right into that sort of campy, chaotic Sam Pinkelton vibe.
Oh, God, I would hope so. Well, and here's the thing that I always find interesting is, and I was talking about this earlier with a friend, here, the Broadway world, and I always love to talk differences between West End and Broadway or just different countries in the way that we treat people. At least from my understanding, so the West End doesn't really build the celebrityism of a Broadway star like we do. So like people here are like, oh my God, it's Jonathan Groff, amazing. It's Jeremy Jordan. I have to go see. Like they are so like celebrated and like put on a pedestal in a celebrity style way. But then outside of the Broadway world, you go, oh yeah, da 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 da, Sherry Renee Scott, and people are like, I don't know who that is. Maybe they do, but in the West End, if there's a performer, they're really wonderful, but they really don't have like this large social media following like some of the people here. Is that still the case at this point where they're able to perform unless it's somebody that's already gained notoriety here that's come over there?
I think so. I think yeah, we've never been quite as good for a while now at creating theatre stars who are able to sort of break out beyond that. Hannah Waddingham is a great recent example, but so much of what she's achieved in her career has really been sort of scraped under her own fingernails, and she's really striven. And I think it was her first Emmy Award win. She said in her speech, West End musical theatre actors need to be allowed to be on screen more. And it's surprising, really, because in US geography, so theatre is so East Coast, and some things film in New York. It's why everyone was in Law of Order and The Good Wife and everything. But so much of Hollywood is on the other coast, and you wouldn't
Right.
think we have such a big geographical divide. But for whatever reason, it's really hard for theatre actors over here to break beyond that corner of the industry. And yeah, I think it's things like the glee of it all helped for a time as
Yeah.
well, and like various different ways for stage stars to sort of really furnish their names. But Broadway has always been the biggest epicenter of musical theatre
I
and
think it
theatre for
can
fans
almost be
globally.
too much because here, and I complain about it all the time, I'm not a huge fan of stunt casting. I think it's helpful, but I don't think, like, I want to see somebody good at their position or their role. I'll say Just in Time. Have you had the opportunity to see Just in Time?
Yeah, yeah, I saw Jonathan and Jeremy.
Love it. Same. But heaven forbid that one of them wasn't in and it was Matt Magnuson, who is incredible. People are losing their minds. And it's not just that show. And I'm like, you're going to see the show. It's okay. It's going to be okay. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
There's a video I just released this evening, and it's about, because there's been this debate about actors, like, they don't do 8 shows a week in the same way that actors used to in the golden
Yeah.
age of musical theatre. We're not training them as well, whatever.
Chris
And
was just talking
thoughts.
about this video that you were talking about right now. Yeah.
I have so many thoughts about it, but something I think more and more roles, especially the huge demanding roles, the Elphabas of this world, should be 6 shows a week with an alternate. It's good for the actor and it's good for the alternate. A lot of
Yeah.
Elphabas only end up doing 6 shows a week most weeks anyway, but this way they'd have a day off and they'd know about it and the audience would know about it.
Right.
And that's a great example because that's not a show when most of its audience are booking because of a specific alphabet. They're booking
Correct.
for Wicked. But in any case, for a lot of things, like the conversation around Vita with Rachel Zegler, when that comes in, there's going to be an alternate. And I'm hearing anecdotally in a lot of conversations people saying, well, we still need to sell those shows, so the alternate needs to have a bit of profile, so it needs to kind of still be a name, but it can't be bigger than her name. So they're
Right.
playing this very difficult game. Like,
They did
who's
that for
still
Queen of
going to sell those
Versailles though
tickets?
with Kristen Chenoweth and Sherry Renee Scott. They were like, we have to have a name, but it can be at like a different level.
Yeah,
But
Mandy
I would argue,
Gonzalez and
I don't
Sylvia
know.
Bob.
I
To me, Sherry is right up there with Kristen, so they're
Yeah.
equal levels. And
agree.
that was the first time I had seen that an alternate was I mean, Mandy Gonzalez for Nicole. I thought, okay, that
And Mandy is
because Mandy
wonderful.
hadn't
Yes.
achieved quite, I
Of
mean,
course.
Nicole with the pop group and everything. Um, but yeah, that was a thing, and I did. I don't know, and it goes to understudies too. When I went to see Once Upon a Mattress, Sutton was out. She had gotten sick just that morning, and all of a sudden it was like, Cara Lindsay
Yeah.
is in. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the usher, I mentioned that to the usher, and he's like, "Oh gosh, thank you for saying that," because so many people just they want to go, and it's this culture of they go to see the star. And you
Right.
address this in the video, talking about if it's an Adele concert
Hmm.
that you go because you're expecting to see Adele, and what if it's not? If it's Adele's backup singer is going to sing the show tonight, of course that's not right. But part of that, I think, is on. I think there are two things at work here. My hot takes are one, Broadway produces that mentality by elevating stars, and two, writers just don't know how to write a thing you can sing 8 times a week anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right, your turn. This is
Oh,
fun. I know.
Yeah.
oh gosh, what's the recent news? What's the things? Um, it depends
You
what
need me
else
to give you
you've
a hint?
been talking about recently. Go for it.
Oh, Mary.
Team me up. Oh yes, O'Mary getting filmed here next week. Another West End pro shot with Broadway people. Very exciting
Yeah,
times.
Cola Scola coming over. Who
Finally, I'll get to see him see them in the role.
Yeah,
have
yeah.
you seen O'Mary recently?
Oh, I'm sure.
I saw it off Broadway. I saw Cole do it off Broadway. I have then seen it a couple times on Broadway from the highest, cheapest seats up there in the
Yeah.
Lyceum. And then I've seen it a couple of times here in the West End. And I've been thrilled that it's had some kind of a life here because we really didn't know when it came over. And I think the plan maybe had been that Cole was going to originate it. And then I think there was a filming opportunity or something that came up,
Right.
which meant we got the wonderful Mason Alexander Park, who
I
is
cannot love them more. Yes.
outstanding.
I was
But
sad that they didn't get the chance to come over for the Kit Kat Club here.
Me too. Me too. And I told them they ought to, and I think there were conversations that were happening, but it
Yeah.
never quite came together. But yeah, Mason's an extraordinary singular talent.
One of our first followers in our cabaret, the Kit Kat Club group, just was so lovely, and I was like, "Yes, please, we need you here." And then just, yeah,
Yeah,
R.I.P. Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, New York.
yeah.
I
Going strong here with Jamie Moscato and Joy Woods at the moment.
I'm very well aware. I will find a way to hitch my cart to somebody going over to the West End so I can go see it.
As you
Do it
should.
soon because Joy will be leaving soon.
Yeah.
September, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I would love
I know what you want to
to.
talk about.
Well, I want to diverge completely
Oh,
because
all
I
right.
want to ask you about these 24-hour musicals that you have
Oh yes,
done.
Chris has burning questions.
That
for it.
I just think it's a fascinating thing that you show up like what is it on a Friday night and
Yeah.
you don't know and they tell you here's the show we're doing, here's your role. They already know, they've already got their tracks and things. It looks beyond Herculean. How do you learn an entire musical in 24 hours?
I mean, the results over the years, the one that's coming up in September of this year is going to be the 10th anniversary of the first time they ever did it. And I've done it every single time. The results have been very disparate, but it's always brilliantly entertaining and it's always incredibly rewarding. Sometimes it just goes surprisingly slickly and well. Sometimes there's a bit of a car crash. The very first year we were doing Guys and Dolls,
So I
and
don't want to interrupt you with Guys and
sorry.
Dolls, but for anyone that's listening that has no idea what we're talking about, can you give them a little snippet,
Yes.
please?
So it's a community theatre Amdram group run by these brilliant creative people who decide they didn't come up with the idea. It had been done in a couple of other places, but you sign up to learn a show in 24 hours. So you arrive on the Friday night, you don't know what the show is, they announce it to everyone, and from 7:30 p.m. you have 24 hours truly through the night to rehearse it fully staged, off book, and they are also building the set at the same time,
Oh my
and they're
gosh.
measuring you for costumes, and they're doing all of these things. So it's really like, let's go put on a show in the backyard. It's that whole mentality of
But do
it
you
all comes together.
audition for it, or you sign up and they find a role for you and off you go?
Initially, it was a lot of people they knew locally because people weren't traveling from far because that seemed
Sure.
inconceivable. And then it became send a link to where we can hear you doing something, or like what
Hmm.
roles have you played in other shows. Because I did it for the first time. I was at university doing university musical theatre. We'd just done, I think, Jekyll and Hyde. And one of my
Nice.
closest friends was the music director for this first 24-hour musical. So we all went over and did it, and we were quite nearby. And now, in the years since, I've not lived anywhere near there. I still travel for it. And because I've now, for the past few years, been making videos about it, I think this year someone's coming from Canada. Like, it's,
Wow.
they're
Wow.
traveling from far and wide because it's, I mean, where else do you get
Right.
to do it?
Because we have a couple here, like
Mm.
we're located in Orlando, but we have a couple here that are like, what was the one that you just did?
Well, we have more of a play in the day
Play in a
thing
day, like,
where
Yeah.
you're assigned your topic and the parameters. The playwright goes off, writes a play, come back the next day, the cast gets the script, but they're 10-minute plays. They're not
not
a
a whole
full two
musical.
and a half hour musical.
Yeah, yeah. And you find out which ones are harder as well. And there is something about contemporary shows and the harmonies in contemporary shows. The harmonies in 9 to 5, surprisingly fiendish. And how much easier it is if people know it. Legally Blonde went off quite well last year because it was just
So
sort of pretty
popular.
well known in the
Yeah.
group. But there was a real derailment in Cats, which I'd been begging them to do for years because I thought it would be funny, and I unapologetically love Cats. Even pre-Jellicle Ball, I'm a Cats apologist. I was raised on the musical Cats at my grandmother's house.
Fair enough.
But it's the Jellicle Ball itself before they start dancing when it's Jellicle cats develop slowly. Jellicle cats have bright black eyes. And so if one person goes down and there's just a
Perfect.
silence, the next person doesn't have their cue, and there's just this like we're all just staring at each other, and then I try and throw one out there because I know where we are, and I'm like, Jellicle cats are a moderate size, after silence, and then after me again, still silence. So I've just said that
Back to you, Mickey. Yeah.
emptily on stage. I mean, it's so funny. And the
Okay, but
audience, I
now I
think,
have
wants
to know
things to
what
go
cat
wrong.
you were.
I was one of 3 Monka straps,
Okay.
and they triple cast Monka strap to sort of spread the weight of learning that material. I could have done the whole thing, but it's
I
fine.
think you could have done the whole show without anyone else.
Cat, one
I
man.
want to see that now. I want to see Mickey Joe Theater is Cats.
Cats.
Yeah, gladly, gladly.
And we were talking about the Jellicle Ball earlier.
Oh, because
about
I
Leslie loves.
was not a Cats fan. I went, okay, Cats, and then da 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 da. And I went to Jellicle Ball, and I did not have being emotionally destroyed before the end of Act One on my bingo card for
Aw.
that trip. But everything with Grisabella in the first off, because first off, one of my favorite numbers is Grisabella the Glamour Cat. That number is just so beautiful. Anyway, I'm just bawling, and it's not even the end of Act One, and then the whole thing, and oh my gosh, when they sang Memory and the whole everything to the end, and it's just beautiful, and I am
You're a
devastated
converted
that it's
Cats fan?
closing.
Yeah.
I signed the petition,
Have you
Yeah.
seen this
the
petition that's
change.org
here?
petition.
I have. We should talk about this because there hasn't been any formally announced plans to do a full cast recording, and I think it's sort of this product of the grief of losing the show that it's like we
Yes.
need something, we need some
Give
kind of
us
a
a
way.
souvenir to take with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than my little disco ball ornament cat head.
Yes, I've got the fan somewhere.
I
But
expected nothing less.
yeah, it's sort of because the music could only have been changed to the extent that it could because they couldn't sort of fully reinvent the score or reorchestrate
Right, of
it
course.
entirely. It's not necessarily like if we get a cast recording, it's amazing. It's not necessarily the most all-encompassing sort of preservation of what this revival was, but it's something.
Right.
Something. And of course, Randy Weiner now has announced, the fellow who's produced Masquerade, that he would like to take it over, and I am there for that.
But now, would
I
he turn it
absolutely-
immersive? Like, what do we think?
Or
It-
at least atmospheric, like the original Natasha Pierre was in the tent, that sort of thing.
That's what it sounded like on
Yeah.
what he was saying about it was like putting it up in some sort of a purpose designed club space somewhere that sort
Right.
of turns into a dance floor naturally afterwards.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it seems, I don't know, people are not letting go of this one, and I don't blame them. I haven't seen it. Cats is not my show, and that's okay, but I see the love that the community goes for it, and that people are like, well, I didn't understand Cats, and I love Cats, but now that I've seen it, now I actually understand Cats. Like, this one. Not
I
a Cats.
think it was like the Deaf West revival of Spring Awakening.
Sure.
Because I saw that and I thought, okay, I get it. Kids are good. Parents are bad. Wine, wine, wine. Oh, I'm gonna go kill myself. Spoiler alert.
Thanks for that, yeah.
Yeah, but then I saw that when in the context of the Deaf West revival, it all became crystal clear. And the same thing, I was like, oh, now the Cats have a reason to sing. Now I understand why they're doing this. And as I said, it just builds and builds. And Grisabella just ripped my heart out. And right up until the end, and I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but
Nope,
you're
that's
running
fine.
out of time.
Yeah, go
So
see
maybe
it.
on a later podcast, I'll tell you how it ended.
I have to say as well, in both of those productions, and there's been so much commentary on like why Jellicle Ball is closing and what it says about Broadway, and I've sort of fed into this as well. But there's been a lot of talk about how, because it's a queer reinterpretation of the show, that it's for that kind of an audience, that it was always going to be speaking to a niche audience. But there's something about both of the experiences you've just described about how a completely different person's humanity and story can teach us and make us feel so much about ourselves. And I think, yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant and important.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's-
the last time I was that destroyed was Suffs.
Oh,
And the time before that was Grey Gardens at the end of Act One. If you ever got to see that.
I've never had the chance to see Grey Gardens anywhere.
It took me all of intermission. I had to hide in a stall in the men's room to
Aw.
compose myself so I could come back out and go, okay, I'm ready for Act Two now.
Grey Gardens is the Encores show I would like to see, and I think Jinx Monsoon would be a great choice.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
that would be really interesting to get Jinx Monsoon.
Yeah.
Now my wheels are turning in my
I don't
head.
know.
Huh. All
Because I
right.
did see Christine Ebersole, and that's
Tough
going to
act
be
to follow.
hard to let go of. But
Is there a show besides Great Gardens? What's like your show that you really want to either see as a revival or that you haven't seen that you want to see come out? Something.
You talked about Aida earlier, and I've never seen it. I've been obsessed with the cast recording for years. I got to
Mm-hmm.
tell Heather Headley that at the stage door of The Bodyguard in the West End.
It's
Um,
wonderful.
yeah, I think we just need to find a way. There's a few that are sort of a bit stuck, and they sort of can't come back in a big way
Yeah.
until they're maybe a little bit revised or reworked, or we figure out what we want a cast, like how we would cast Aida
yes,
Right.
today. And
How
like you've
how
got,
would you cast Aida today? Not that
well,
she's
carefully.
very carefully.
if I'm thinking commercially, Cynthia Erivo has said she wants to do it, and if you have Cynthia Erivo and you have the rights to Aida, that's money.
Makes sense.
That's
Right.
immediately going to work. Alternatively, with a slightly younger group, or maybe a few years down the line, Ali Lewis Borsky,
I love Ollie.
who is amazing. I think
Good
we would
choice.
need to have, I think, actors of Middle Eastern descent in those roles
Yeah.
in a version of Aida. Much as Ariana Grande has said that she'd like to, I don't think that's, I think her PR team would shut that one down before it happens.
You would
But
hope.
yeah, yeah, maybe him and Jasmine Amy Rogers.
Oh, that would be.
Oh,
That's okay. Well, I know a lot of people involved in the back end of AIDA, so I'll make sure that they know. No, that's great. But I love that, and AIDA is one of those stories I think it's really important, and there's such history behind it that I think it's important. I hope that one day they can figure out how to bring it back because they're bringing back so many of these revivals over and over again, and I'm like, what about the shows that are really poignant that people still gravitate towards today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
is there a show from the past? What's like the one show you wish you could go back and see as it's happening in the past?
That's an impossibly difficult. I mean, there's
Yeah,
so
way to
many
stop.
things. I cherish nothing like the original Broadway cast and production of Into the Woods, but it got recorded, so that would be such a waste of a time machine.
Okay.
But I don't know. I might. A part of me would want to go to San Diego and see the out of town version and Boom Crunch and Second Midnight and all of the stuff that got cut or reworked. But I can come up with a better answer than that. There's so many. There's things come up in conversation, and I'll say, "Oh, that's one of my time machine
Uh huh.
shows for sure." But there's dozens at this point.
What's yours?
I've always sort of clung to Ethel Merman's first performance in Girl Crazy when no one
Oh,
knew who she was,
Mm.
and all of a sudden, it would be like there was a what was the rock show, like a rock and roll concert.
Which one?
The some I don't know, like not the Beatles. We knew who the Beatles were before they got
Sure,
here, but
sure,
there
sure.
was, oh, I don't know. I'll have to. Ned will remind me later.
Okay.
But something, somebody who was on the verge of discovery at that instant
Right.
when everything blew up and the world took notice.
I mean, I saw In Sync opened up for by Britney Spears at the Broward County Fair for $5.
wow.
I worked at a radio
Nobody had a
station
clue.
30 years ago, and there was some RCA recording artist we were supposed to have, and they couldn't make it, and we had booked them into this little bar in the middle of Missouri. So RCA sent us this new group they had called In Sync.
Oh, yeah. Never heard of them.
Yeah, they did 6 songs with tracks,
Cute.
and it was like, yep, they're going places.
So
You can
silly.
tell.
So I think living in Orlando, we're a little bit spoiled with like the boy bands
Oh
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
So what would you want to go back and see?
No, I knew you were gonna ask that. I'm such a Phantom girl, and you know this. I would say opening night of Phantom, just to experience it one again, to appreciate what everything is. Actually, I take that back. No, I can't take it back. I'm gonna say opening night of Phantom, or opening night for Rent,
Oh, good one.
because everything changed after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first preview off Broadway or opening at the Nederlander?
Opening at the Nederlander.
Okay. So after we already knew.
After we knew it existed, but yes, yeah, all
Okay.
that.
What was the show kind of similar to your Ethel Merman moment? The one where Gwen Verdon has to come down and take an extra ovation in a towel and it's kind of the beginning of her. This was before it was a featured dance solo that she had in the second act. I don't think I'll remember the name. It's in Fosse Verdant, the TV series, but this was kind of like a similar moment for her. It was the beginning of her rise.
That's before she was a star, so.
Yeah.
Can? Is that right?
Oh. Possibly, yeah.
It says, and thank you, Google.
Yeah, she went off stage
Yeah.
and didn't know that she was going to have to come back on for another curtain call.
Just because you hear these stories about these extraordinary audience reactions, and I don't know if we ever achieve anything of that scale these days. Like, there's a sort of a certain standing ovation that everything gets, but you hear about like something getting 54 curtain calls or however many,
Right.
and you wonder what it would have been like to be amongst that kind of feverish
I
excitement.
mean, the closest thing that I probably have experienced in recent years was Alex Newell in Shucked during their solo, or Gabby Serrano getting standing O for Cabaret. Afterlife, like, I think those are moments where you're like, ooh, you get chills because you have the audiences appreciating something so important that most of them get it.
I think mine was first preview of Death Becomes Her, when Megan sang For the Gays
Oh yeah.
and stopped the show.
Well,
Yeah.
that always stopped the show.
Well, I mean, and I looked around and went, okay, we know who this show's audience is. They are living for it. This is going to run.
Well, let's talk West End for a little bit because
Uh-huh.
I've never been. I know, blasphemy. I'm working on it. But it seems like the culture out there is so significantly different that the fans there come here and they expect something different, or the fans here go over there and expect like this grandiose performance. And they're kind of like, oh wow, the theater was really small or it didn't have an elevator. And I'm like, you're focusing on the wrong things here, folks. But can you kind of give me, I don't know, like, obviously the West End is very special, but for someone who's never been, like, give me a commercial of the West End, will ya?
Sure. I mean,
Please.
so from a Broadway perspective, there's so many differences because New York and London are very different places. And, London is a very metropolitan city, but if you come from New York, you will think of London as the city that does sleep at around 10 p.m. And the concept of going to dinner after a show doesn't exist here. I've had friends come over and say, where are we eating afterwards? And I'm like, in your
I'm going
hotel
home.
room or
Yeah.
at a
Visit
McDonald's.
Chippy in Leicester Square.
Yeah, you don't have a wealth of options. And so people don't hang around afterwards. And I think that sort of is to the detriment of the culture. It's also not as tightly packed or sort of geographically convenient as Midtown. So
yeah.
when I went to Broadway for the first time and servers in Hell's Kitchen were asking me like, oh, how that show at Encores is, I thought this would never happen in London.
No.
That someone would strike up this kind of a conversation.
When was the first time you did go to Broadway?
March 2023.
Oh, so real recent. Okay.
Yeah, hadn't been before that, and that was 2 weeks, and it was going to be trip of a lifetime. Who knows when we'll get to go again? November 2023, January 24, April 24, like.
We'll have to plan a trip when you come into New York. I'll go into New York because I'm there pretty frequently.
Perfect.
Yep.
But
Done.
yeah, and so West End theatres are a little more spread out. For the most part, the buildings are older, and that gives them their own character as well. Our sight lines aren't necessarily as great. A lot of our buildings are built up, and culturally, I think the musical is so well respected on Broadway because one of the sort of go-to theatrical touch points and definitions in the US is vaudeville and golden age musical theatre. That's a very
Yes.
American idea. And here, theatre quintessentially is Shakespeare. So the play is truly respected here, and musicals are occasionally seen as sort of a little frivolous. And so trying to get sincere, legitimate, thoughtful musicals to be taken seriously can be a bit of an uphill battle. But it means that we have a lot of really incredible work being put on as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, I was such a Shakespeare girl, but here, like, when I go to New York, I do not gravitate towards a straight play. I go towards a musical, but I feel like once I go to the West End, I'm going to want to get as much as I possibly can in.
Yeah.
Then you guys just had, like, Starlight Express, and you had fully different... they built out the theater just for the show and
Yeah.
that
Again.
well, but it looked insane. And then Grease, the immersive experience, like there's so many cool things that I wish that New York would adjust, or any part of the States, but I don't know. I think that's what makes you guys so special over there too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's less of a sort of a clear line because you have Broadway and then you have off Broadway, and we have sort of the central commercial West End and then a sort of a blurry layer around that and sort of prestigious small little theatres that would be considered off Broadway but can still win Olivier Awards here. It makes everything a little bit confusing. But then we have in sort of outer London now a lot of other theatres popping up, like where the Hunger Games is, that can do
Right?
very exciting bespoke, sort of technically revolutionary things. I almost think our audience is a little bit spoiled because I was at the first preview of the Hunger Games, and some of the things that and that was a whole experience. But
Oh,
some of the
we
things,
run the fan community for that. I heard all about that experience.
yeah, some of the things that happen in the space and some of the things they pull off, they did it, and the audience was like, okay, and I'm like, we ought to be losing our minds. We've
Oh
sort of we've come
no.
too far if we aren't. I don't want to spoil the things that happen, but it
That's
still
okay.
ought to be awe-inspiring. But I think, yeah, we're maybe spoiled for impressive stagecraft after like Stranger Things and everything
Well,
else.
and I was gonna say, like, well, right, and that's a show that we share as well with Stranger Things. Here, when you go into New York and you see Stranger Things, and you're like, holy mind flayer, like, oh my god, like this is crazy, or the opening with the ship. People are just, I think people lean forward, they experience it. Lost Boys, they're
Yeah.
leaning, they want to see everything. And then you have the complete juxtaposition of that where people are like, whatever, like this digital screen took away from this, or oh, it wasn't enough technology. And you're like, do you really need it? Like, I heard somebody complain about Hades Town. I was at the 2000 show, people were complaining that the set design was boring. And I'm like, are you. You need to you give me back your like theater lover card, please.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It's not it doesn't need to be constant changing sets. It just needs to be effective, and it is effective.
Yeah.
So you have a slew of questions. I'm a chatty Cathy. I'm gonna let you go through your
Oh,
list.
I don't know. Let's see what
Put
else
Mickey Joe
we
on the
have.
spot.
Oh, no. Let's see. We talked about that. We should mention the revival of Ragtime
Yes,
at Lincoln Center broke its own box office record
it did.
this week.
It
So
did.
Uh-oh. I hear a hesitation in your
Well,
voice.
no, I have mixed feelings about these press releases when they come through to my inbox because realistically, like shows have been very successful. When you hear more and more of them, like you've broken this venue, all it means is tickets are more expensive than ever before.
That
see, yeah.
Realistically, because
When
it's
you
not
look-
the first show to sell out the venue for a week at a
right.
time. It's just inflation.
What do you think if you were to close your eyes and go to a time where a theater ticket was reasonably priced? Now, also taking in mind, are you an orchestra guy? Are you a mez guy? Like, what is your go-to seat?
I have been very spoiled by, on the occasion when I do get press tickets on Broadway, they tend to be very consistently in a similar sort of a place.
Yep.
So I like orchestra H2 to be,
You're very specific, but also I'm right there with you. Yes.
yeah, yeah. And on the theatres when, because sometimes it flips, when 2 is on the right-hand side, house right, for whatever reason, that's like, you're looking like across the aisle, completely unobstructed. It's close enough, but it's not like
Right
neck
on top
craning.
of where you're craning your neck. All
Yeah.
right. So, what would be your perfect theater ticket price then? I know it's hard.
Broadway has warped my mind. I came back from New York the first time, and people were complaining, as they have every right to, but
Of
people were complaining about a show opening in London, and its lowest ticket prices were $49.50, and they were saying this is so expensive and so inaccessible. And I thought that's really
That
just
converts
changed my
to just
perspective.
about $90 to $100 US, right?
Oh no, way less, way less.
Less than that.
Okay, the conversion
$49.50.
rate
It was probably
right.
about like $60.
Okay, because I had heard somebody complaining about a show being like €40, and then they were like, "But that's like $80." I'm like, that conversion
No,
rate
no.
sounds wrong.
No.
But yeah, people need to stop. Okay.
Yeah, when Hamilton opened in the UK in the West End, and everyone went, $85, 85 pounds for a ticket? That's outrageous. I said, oh, child, you've never been to Broadway.
Yeah.
It's a very different sort of set of expectations, but I still remember when I got a Saturday job. I was 16 years old and I worked in a library for 3.5 hours on a Saturday morning, and I made just enough for a train ticket and a ticket at the back at the top of the sort of somewhat nearest touring theatre to go and see whatever the musical was that week on a Saturday afternoon. And I would book, they didn't always sell that well on a Saturday afternoon, so I would book the back row, and then I would put on my glasses and change my hoodie and sort of
Walk
move
down.
myself and like hold 12 seats around a block and be sweating nervously. No one cared that much. No one was getting paid enough to be policing me to that extent.
Right.
But
Now they do. Oh, now
yeah,
they really
Do
do.
they? No
but
more
those
acting.
no, but those tickets were, I mean, maybe like £25. I think that young people, especially, and London is better at this than New York. There are a couple of initiatives in New York, but London is a lot better at schemes that really cultivate the next generation of theatre goer, because I think we do need to be making sure that young people can afford to go and see theatre. I begrudge it a whole lot less when I'm older and I have a job and I have disposable income, and then then they can
No, but
charge
I
commercial
agree.
prices.
Making theater accessible for everyone is like my
Yeah,
main goal in life.
yeah.
I'm terribly spoiled because when I'm in London, they're like, "Oh well, there's the TKTS booth in Leicester Square," and it's like I'm at the box office, paying way less than I would
Really?
for anything on Broadway, and I
That's
just
fair.
buy them at the box office.
No.
That's what all my American friends do. We always say, "Well, this rush is pretty easy to do, so you could wait until the day." And they're like, "Do we just booked in advance because these prices are so much less?" And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I think the most I ever paid was maybe £35,
Hmm.
and that was for Everybody's Talking About Jamie, and even that was months, like in the spring after it opened. It opened like 2 weeks after my fall trip, and I missed it. Um, oh, and that's another one. Josie Walker destroying me in the middle of Act Two.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay.
I sobbed on her at the stage door.
On
It's the
her?
only show in London I've ever stage doored, and I didn't mean to. But I met Mira, and then I started, and she's like, "Josie, this man's crying. You've got to come give him a hug." And I thought that doesn't happen in New York. I don't know. Anyway, let's do that one.
Yes.
Oh, I think we've gotten to most of it. I
Did
made a
you?
little list of questions I would ask Mickey Joe Theater.
I wanted to
But
make
we
sure
talked about your
before you
favorite
went out.
show, the show in the past you would like to see, 24-hour musicals. We've talked about audiences and the difference between UK
Yeah.
audiences. I remember seeing Dreamgirls,
Hmm.
and that one annoyed me because it was the middle of I'm telling you I'm not going, and the audience is going riot like she's done with the show already. And I'm like, this is not an Amber Riley concert.
Hmm.
She's acting, let her finish. But that's the only show that I've experienced that at. Follies at the National was a trip of a lifetime. That was the first thing I ever saw in London because I thought, I'm getting older. No one's ever going to do Follies like this again.
Right.
I bought the tickets and then said, "Oh, now I have to get to London," and bless them, managed to find affordable ticket, and I flew to London for 2 nights. Called a friend who I knew was one of the producers on Dreamgirls, so I got Follies and Dreamgirls.
All right. Show off.
That was a great production. That was a really wonderful one. And that was, did you see it? I think the whole time it was at the National, they did it without the intermission as well.
Yes, intermissionless. Yeah,
Yeah.
That sounds so brutal.
but come on, the people I got to see in that.
Of course.
Imelda Staunton, I got to see Tracy Bennett live. I've loved her forever.
Yeah.
Janie, I think Janie was things escape me. Anyway,
Well, I want people to know more about you and what you specialize in on your YouTube. Can you kind of give a breakdown and, I don't know, give us your top 3 episodes that you've done that you think really speak? I know, it's like picking your favorite child.
Okay. So in my day to day, I think of myself as, and I sort of characterize myself as a critic, like any other, who will go and see a show and who will then review it. Only I'm not writing a review for a broadsheet or a website. I'm doing it via video, which I
Same. Yeah.
enjoy, and I think it's great. I think it's making people excited about criticism. I think they're able to better understand how I feel about a show because you can sort of interpret more from how I say it and everything. But alongside that, a lot of the stuff that sort of helps to boost me on social media is responding to hot topics in the theatre world and news and doing sort of features about things that I'm excited by, the occasional interview as well, theatre going vlogs, something since that first New York trip, we've become more and more. I was always a theatre kid and I never cared about seeing the world until I realised how much exciting theatre there was in different parts of the world. And so
Right.
now I'm like, what can I go and see in all of these different European countries? What does this non-replica Book of Mormon production look like in
I want
Madrid
to go
that's in
see the
Spanish?
Phantom in Australia.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
I'm desperate. I'm
oh
desperate to
my
go to
God.
Australia, but
Yeah, I'm losing my mind.
so far. And yeah, in other parts of the United States, when I got to go to San Diego for the first time, and going to Gander to go and see Come From Away performed in Gander. That's
Did you do the full tour, the full
oh yeah.
experience? Did you kiss the fish?
I did. We didn't. There was something. They weren't doing it when we were there, and we had a whole thing with. We got there a day late
Oh,
because of Air Canada, but we had the most amazing tour guide in Michael Rubinoff, who is one of the producers of Come From Away, who makes that production happen there every year. And we instantly met a bunch of the real people from Come From Away. It's an extraordinary place. It's exactly as you would expect. And now every time I see the show, I cry so much more because I
oh.
know the scale of it and I
Yeah,
visualize
Canada's different now.
who these people were and the size of it. It's amazing. So that video is one of my favorites when Erin, my partner, and I go there and we experience all of that. It's amazing. I also like to try and advocate on behalf of actors and theatre makers as individuals and as human beings because I think the way that we talk about them in the theatre fan community, I think in everyone's excitement, we can sort of overtake ourselves a little bit and forget that we're talking about human beings.
Yeah.
And one of, I think, still my most
Wait,
viewed
they're
video.
human? Who
Yeah,
is
I know.
that?
What a surprise. My most viewed video still, I think, was when Billy Porter was getting backlash as the MC in Cabaret on
Oh, yeah.
Broadway, which weirdly enough never really surfaced while he was doing it here. It was only when he went to go and do it in New
Well,
York
you
that
know
suddenly,
why. You know why that it surfaced here so quickly.
tell me.
So there he went on a morning news station in New
Oh
York.
yes, yeah.
But that's because people saw it and it went viral, and I think social media can kind of
Yeah.
do
It
some
gives and it
damage.
takes.
It gives and it takes. It's a great way of putting it. But yes,
I
yeah.
get very frustrated by people taking things out of context, and
Yep.
this little clip of him vocalizing around one section of Willkommen was sort of wildly
Oh, I remember that too.
misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what people were doing, it became a whole trend, and then I thought what people were doing with it, the caricature, was becoming just deeply racist. And I don't tend to enjoy short form content platforms nearly as much because I'll say one thing and the comments will be full of, but did you consider this? And I'll think, yes, but I only had
Did you
90
watch the whole
seconds.
thing? Right.
And so that's why I love talking about something with nuance and context for 45 minutes if it's a
Mm-hmm.
contentious issue, so that I can say, but we also have to consider this. And here's when this kind of thing happened 20 years ago,
Right.
and there's value in recalling that as well. And I like to be able to come at an issue from all sides in that way. So that's another one that probably sums up what I do pretty well.
And
I
number
think
three.
that's what I appreciate most about your videos is that you are
Thank
well
you.
considered across all sides of everything. And in the video you posted earlier this evening, we're talking about actors as humans, and if 4 shows a week or 8 shows a week, so they can have a life outside.
Right.
But that also pertains to stage dooring, and an actor does not owe you a stage door
That's my
appearance.
biggest soapbox moment of
Yeah.
all time ever because I've a stage door to me, and you're probably about the same way. That's how we get our business done. It's like the golf course here. We meet up with our friends, or we're doing something, whatever, or we're interacting with the fans. But I have been places where people are like, "Well, I am owed this, and this is part of this." No, a stage door is never a guarantee. And would you like to be stopped when you're walking into work or when you're leaving work?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Now,
Yeah.
I am happy to share my love of the show and what people did. But, people get tired. They're
Yes.
not feeling well. They have to get home to
Meg Stalter
know.
on vocal rest at a Jinx
Yep.
Monsoon thing. I think it's
People with young kids and they're conscious of germs, and
Casey
it's
Levy. Casey Levy's son, when he was much younger, when she was doing Frozen, I was at one of the first previews. And the security guard came out, and he was really nice, and he was like, so, because Patty had come out, but he was like, hey, so Casey might come out and wave, but like no autographs, no selfies, no nothing. And people were booing. And she actually came out and was like signing things, but like was a little bit standoffish for a selfie. She was like, no selfies, I'm so sorry. And people were like being assholes about it, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I spoke to her last year, the year before, about it, because I was on my soapbox moment. And it was because her son was so sick that she was, she can't bring home these germs. And, like, imagine if you have a child that's not sick, or you're taking care of an elderly parent, or somebody, whatever. You don't need an excuse. You don't want to do it, you don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I have such an issue with the idea of blockading someone on their exit from their place of work, I think. And there's something so charming about, I don't want to say we do away with stage door, because I've seen these really wonderful interactions and how much it means to a lot of people seeing a Broadway show for the first time. But on occasion, I do think that maybe we should formalize the fan experience in a slightly different way, where actors are safeguarded and compensated for their time.
Like a step and repeat of some
Yeah.
sort, where you're paying,
Yeah.
like I know that Megan did like a VIP experience at her concert. Aaron does it too. I agree.
Yeah.
1000% agree, because it shouldn't just be open to the streets, because it's unsafe. Dan Radcliffe had, rocks thrown in his car. Somebody went into Keanu Reeves' vehicle.
Yeah.
Someone followed Audra McDonald to her apartment. Someone followed Roger Bart through the subways. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean,
I always see people, they do the line, they've been at and then they just walk down the street, and I'm like, don't you worry about people following you?
Oh, I've seen all sorts of weird stuff happening. I mean, that's a whole other episode.
We need to wrap this up.
Yes,
though.
we do. I know. I'm the one that's supposed to say that. He's so nice.
Sorry.
But
I'm going to be very conscious of the time.
We are both trying to make sure that you can go night soon. But please,
Bless you.
so that you're always welcome to come and join. And I'm always happy to make an appearance and get on my soapbox about stage touring.
There's so many more things that we can talk about.
Oh my God, there's so many more. But I do have a signature question that I have to ask you.
Please.
Okay. If there was one question that you've always wanted to be asked, what is it and what is the answer? And it can be anything.
Oh my gosh.
You're welcome.
A question I've always wanted to be asked. I mean, I've really enjoyed the things that we've talked about here. I feel like I always end up telling sort of the same stories of my own backstory that I'm bored by myself at this point. But
Hopefully we didn't make you bored tonight.
no. Brilliant questions. What's something I've always wanted to be asked?
Did I stump you? I'm so sorry.
No, well, I spend so much time thinking about what to ask other people. I'd never really considered it. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever really spoken about sort of the really formative moments of finding theatre and figuring out what I wanted to do in that world. Because when I was 16, I saw a lot of shows and I wrote about them. I had a little blog. I didn't do that because I was dreaming of being a theatre critic and was planning to do that. I never really knew how I was going to fit into the industry. I assumed for a long time, wrongfully, that I must want to be an actor because I just loved theatre so much. And so I was like, that's sort of the obvious. And I've seen other people sort of go down that path as well. And
It's the entry drug.
I performed when I was little, but I never got the bug. I was always a production girl.
Yeah.
Always.
See, I love to sing, and my dad's a professional singer, and my sister's an amazing singer, and I've always sung. It's very, very Von Trapp family. But, and so...
Do you have the curtain cutout outfits? And...
Yeah. But I was never, for a long time, I wasn't really confident enough in myself and who I was to be a good enough actor. I think you need to be able to sort of know yourself and achieve an awful lot of vulnerability to do that. And I was doing all of these drama school auditions, and it took the first ones telling me, okay, you can come here, and sort of offering me a place for me to go, oh, I don't think I want to. I think I just wanted someone to say yes at this point. And then I still didn't really know what it was I wanted to do. And then very accidentally, I've ended up doing this thing that I really love doing. And I think yeah, I think it's good for people, for young people falling in love with the theatre to figure out where they fit into that. And it doesn't have
And
to be
there's
as an
so
actor.
many, right? It doesn't have to be just on stage and off stage. Like, I never would have thought, honestly, I shouted from the rooftops, I never would have thought I would have had my career in the theater world. I was a consultant for marketing and public relations and an event producer. And when COVID came, my best friend at the time, she was like, it's like a part of you has died because you're not able to go to New York or be a part of a theater and go see a show. And the first show back was here in Orlando at Dr. Phillips Center, was Frozen, because I love the show. And it opens, and I had tears streaming down my face. And then a couple weeks later, because she lived out of town, she says, okay, you're back to yourself now. This is good. And I was like, I have to do something with this now. I could sell an event. I can consult this restaurant. But I have to do something. And I had created a foundation for restaurants in the area during COVID to help them learn support. And somebody off the streets was like, you're a community builder. And I was like, huh, interesting. And what's a community builder in the theater world? Well, it's fan clubs, but like they're all just like fan base and it's kind of chaotic. And I was like, but nobody is out there doing this as a career and working with the shows and making sure that people don't die. And speaking with wonderful people like yourself, like, it's such Broadway, and I'm assuming the West End very much the same as well. It's this small town in a big city. It has lots of venues to it, but it's one giant and small dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
And I think once people break the pretentiousness of, oh, I'm going to be on Broadway or I'm going to perform at the West End, and they realize it's just sharing with the community, like our love of art and culture, and having that escape from reality for a little bit, I think once they understand that, like, all the walls come down.
Yeah.
So, but I'm right there with ya. It's kind of like, oh, this is a thing now. I love that. But I have taken up a lot of your time. I'm so glad that you got to hang out with us. So
I've
glad
been
Chris got to
thrilled
hang
after
out.
years of just watching you on my YouTube, on my television. To get to actually chat has been a real thrill and a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been lovely. Thank you both for having me. Thank you for
And
the
you're welcome.
invitation.
Of course. Now, I do want to make sure that people can find you.
Yes.
So I've made sure that we can put your URL up on the screen, and we'll talk about it as well. www.MickeyJoTheatre.com. I'm going to spell that out because it's all spelled the right way. MickeyJo, and then theater spelled the only way you should spell it. TheAtre.com.
Great.
From there you can find what your socials, your videos, great ways to contact and connect with you as well.
Yeah.
So, and then any other ways that you would like people to come find you?
I mean, YouTube is kind of where I live,
Yeah.
but if it's easier for you to listen to me in the car, people tell me all sorts of things. They listen to me while they're doing dishes. An actor told me they watch me in the bath. It wasn't meant to
I was
sound
going to say,
strange.
someone told me they listened to me in the bath, and I was like, okay.
Listening's better. I watch you in the bath is just always a strange sentence to hear. And I have a weekly Substack post that keeps you up to date with all of the hundreds of things that I'm seeing every year. But yeah, I put out a lot of things on the internet.
Yes, and this is not the last that we're going to see you on the show because you're required to come back now.
I'd love to.
But if people want to listen to any of our previous episodes, they can go right over to the Broadway Podcast Network website, www.onlybroadwayfans.com. You can listen to all of our 96 previous episodes and then some, especially this one, because it's been such a joy to have you on the show, Mickey. You've been a delight. So I need to rack my mind with more questions about the West End because they exist. And then hopefully I'll have a lovely tour guide when I go over there, and I'll show you the ropes over here in New York.
Indeed, indeed.
Sound good? Well, you've been wonderful. Yes. Please go to bed. It's now 1:05 in the morning there.
Yeah.
But we really appreciate you, and we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank
We
you
hope
both.
you have a stagey day.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, I shall.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Good night.
And don't forget, every Monday night when Broadway is dark, we keep the ghost light burning. To my lovely co-host, Chris Leavy.
Thank
Could
you
not
so
have done
much
this
for
without
having
you.
me tonight.
You've been wonderful. Appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Good night.